Now, look, internet cafes, we're going to talk a little bit about the actual culture behind internet cafes later. But what you do need to know is that sometime during, I want to say it was probably around about 2008.
Yes.
Thereabouts. I would like to say, because when I first got to China, this wasn't the case. You could walk into an internet cafe, you could sit down, you pay like 5 RMB for 2 hours. It was really cheap.
It's so cheap.
Yeah. You could
Which
sit
is
down,
under $1.
Yeah, you could sit down for 2 hours and just, they have games you could play. There were obviously pirated movies and music you could listen to.
Yeah.
You just chill out in a nice big office chair, kind of like what I got here. Earphones. It's filthy. It was so,
I wanted you to be honest.
So filthy.
I'm sitting here like not able to pay attention to you because you're just talking shit.
I just got to say, it was filthy. Okay?
Yeah.
You know, anyway, the fact of the matter is, most of the time. You did get fancy ones, but very seldom.
I actually did a video on a fancy one.
Yeah, on a fancy one. But I mean, back in the day, they were filthy, but they were cool. I liked it. It's just a cigarette smoke
awesome.
hanging in the air.
It's freaking awesome. I used to go there after we'd ride motorcycles in Mongolia, we'd go dirt biking and go there and we'd just hang out, eat noodles and just smoke cigarettes and play stupid QQ games.
Yeah. So anyway, somewhere around about 2008, they made it mandatory that if you went to an internet cafe, you had to register with your government ID. It could have been...
Must have been a little bit later than that.
It could have been later.
I was there when it shifted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And I had to borrow my Chinese friends' IDs to go in.
Well, it got to a point, like, if you're a foreigner, they wouldn't let you go.
They wouldn't even let you in. No, they wouldn't accept my passport.
Yeah, because they don't accept passports. Anyway, the fact of the matter, so it must have been later. Okay. In my mind, it's around 2000, probably more like 2012.
Yes.
Anyway, the fact of the matter is they made it mandatory that when you go sign up for those 2 hours, your government-issued ID card is scanned.
Right.
So that if you were to leave a comment on the internet that was anti-government, or maybe if you went and searched the wrong search terms, if you did the wrong thing online, if you caused quarrels, spread rumors, you did anything, it could be tied back to you.
That's right.
Okay? Because each computer has its own unique, serial number and stuff that's then tied to your ID card during that time that you were using it.
That's right.
So basically anything that you do. If you were to search porn or something like that and get around the
I never mind
censors,
that. Even like a forum talking about democracy or something.
If you were to do anything during your time and it's tied to your ID card, the police would come. And you can see in this picture here, this is actually a real picture. It's not staged. Of someone obviously was doing the wrong thing. I love his fake Apple earphones, by the way. Let's get out of there. Get out of there.
Colors.
Yeah, that's kind of common. Fake Apple earphones. They look terrible, by the way. And he's sitting there, and the cops are checking his ID, and he's obviously in trouble because he accessed something or he did something he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
Okay? So the cops will actually come into the internet cafes and arrest people or harass them whatever if you did the wrong thing online. So just to give you an idea of this sort of level of control. Now, let's talk about this whole thing about mind reading and pornography.
Yes.
So
I'll get into that.
All right. First of all, what is pornography?
So, and by the definition of like normal people or the Chinese government?
Well, both.
Okay, I knew both. Yeah, I actually did a whole video on this.
Yeah.
I said, well, how do Chinese people watch porn?
Yeah.
Right. Me and Vivi did a huge deep dive into the law and how it was a bit of an investigative journalism. I asked some people in China how they look at it, and then the people that don't have access to it, what do they do? What is their methodology? Right.
Sure.
So I came up with two groups of people. One group of people is people that I personally know that were comfortable enough to tell me about it. And they are people that are savvy enough to use a VPN. Now, if I was to put a percentage on this, I would say less than 5% of people, even people I know, would know this, how to use a VPN.
Sure.
Right? They're not using VPNs. These are people that already speak English. Most of the people I talked to had been abroad already. So they know about it. And then they use a VPN to go do that. Now, the rest of the people that I spoke to, or they are speaking on their behalf, they're actually using the Chinese internet to look at porn.
Sure.
Now, by definition, pornography is illegal in China.
It is super illegal.
But it's not tolerated. It's just not, there's no way to really crack down on it. Because the vast majority of people are looking up naughty stuff, like men at least, right? Looking up naughty stuff, and there are always websites that are popping up. And
but they get swatted down.
They get swatted, but there's new mirrors all the time.
Sure.
So what happens is they operate a lot of them out of these foreign hubs, out of the Philippines, out of Macau, out of Hong Kong, out of Taiwan, right? And these areas will actually be set up by mainland Chinese people that will go there, and they set up gambling dens, like gambling rings for online poker sites, online mahjong places.
Which is also very illegal.
Very illegal,
China,
right?
yeah.
But they set up these ways for Chinese people to be able to gamble online, right?
Yeah.
And it's weird. That's kind of tolerated. It brings revenue into China. So these Chinese people move to these foreign countries, and then they operate these gambling sites, right?
Yeah.
Now, out of the same servers, they operate porn sites, right? So there's mirror after mirror after mirror of these, right, all over the place. And they get shut down by the central government. Then they come back up on a different mirror, right? Yeah. So they're usually just like crappy rips of Japanese porn.
It's always Japanese porn, and it makes sense because it's relatable.
Sure.
Looks similar.
However, there is a huge portion of it is domestic Chinese porn that people are uploading. Right?
That's much newer. That was never the case in the past.
It's definitely a new thing.
It's a new thing.
But it's there.
Sure.
Right? And so they have conduits, obviously, people that are uploading this, and people will pay for it, or they'll be part of this whole gambling binge thing.
You don't want to be caught manufacturing porn in China. That's a huge offense.
So this is where I want to get into the law.
Be messed up. You'll go to jail for the rest of your life.
Yeah, so this is where I want to get into the law.
Yeah.
The vast majority of people are not going to suffer legal consequence for consuming porn in China. Despite the law, almost everyone does it, right?
Yeah.
But if you are creating the porn, although there are massive pimps and human traffickers that do that in China,
sure.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
If they are not paying off the right people, or they don't know the right officials, because they have to know officials if they're doing this, by the way. And then they get shut down. They'll basically, the Chinese government will go after a token person and show them.
They'll go after the actual woman or man in the porn.
Shame them, But the manufacturers as well, they'll go after a token person to show people that, hey, don't do this ever again. I'll kick your ass, basically, right? So the way that the Xi Jinping government has been going is that, it's been a gray area the whole time. It's been illegal, but everyone uses it. Everyone does it. It's whatever. It's almost a joke. You talk about it on the street, you're not going to jail.
Sure.
Right? You could show someone no, nothing's going to happen. But the Xi Jinping government's trying to go back to traditional Chinese values, which is kind of ridiculous because it has nothing to do with Chinese values. It's all about being conservative.
Sure.
Right? So they're trying to get rid of porn again. There's another big crackdown on this porn and the morality of society.
Sure.
Right? So what they're done is, I don't know if you guys have heard about this crazy tinfoil stuff, but people were talking about these mind control helmet things that they're using on soldiers, a development.
Oh yeah, they were
right?
talking about
ridiculous
that. Yes,
stuff, right?
nonsense.
But the same kind of technology is now being repurposed to combat porn. Right. Yeah. So I want you to go. Oh, you have the first slide up here.
Yeah. Well, before we even continue with that,
sure.
I have to talk a little bit more about how porn was traditionally accessed in China.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Way back in the day.
Yeah. When I first got there, there'd be these hidden DVD shops. Where it was weird because I stumbled across this a couple of times. First of all, DVDs in China, you can't buy original DVDs and movies because they were never officially released in China, right? You don't have New Line Cinema or whatever or Universal releasing a DVD at that time.
Yes.
Okay? Because they're not allowed in the market. So all the DVDs, all the VCDs, specifically VCDs back then, were pirated.
Yes.
Okay? Pretty much all of the pornography came from Japan. It was pirated Japanese pornography.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, what you do is, when you'd go into these markets like in Dolmen or whatever, they'd have a kind of an area where they would have some random DVDs, nothing really illegal, nothing that's really, some places you'd be able to just buy pirated DVDs. They were out in the open, okay? But they'd always have a back room or a curtain or something where if you asked for certain things, they'd get you into this fake door or this fake place and it was just filled with either pornography or random other stuff that's just not allowed to be watched or whatever in China.
They would have put those curtains behind in P0rn Yongping because sex toys are fully legal in China. So you have stalls all over China for that. And then they would hide DVDs and porn back there too.
I mean, it was dodgy.
Transform though.
All the foreigners that live there know about this because you'd want to go buy DVDs to watch, right? This is back before the internet streaming, before Netflix and before everything, right? Even before VPNs when I was there. So what people would do is sometimes it's like you're doing a drug deal or something. They take you in up the stairs, the back room, go up into this hidden thing and you'd walk into this, looks like a normal, I don't know, old Blockbuster almost. It's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
rows
like
and
a
rows.
weird adult
I've got
movie
footage
store.
of it. I've got
Yeah.
footage of this stuff. I'll show it sometime. But, you walk in there, it's all hidden. It's behind closed doors, and you have to
Yes.
like kind of be taken up there.
That's right.
They suss you out, make sure you're not like a cop or something.
Yeah.
Open it up, and there you could go buy whatever movie you
Yes.
want to watch, and you pay the 10 RMB of DVD or whatever, and then you
Right.
walk out. It's kind of bizarre, but that's how pornography was usually distributed, was through like these pirated VCDs
That's correct.
and that kind of thing.
So in the internet era, when I honestly, it just became such a gray area that no one gave a shit.
Yeah.
Right. So like, let's fast forward back to Xi Jinping era. Now it's got to be moral society. Chinese
Yeah,
people are
but
moral.
if you did try to access any pornography online in a Wang bar, in an internet
Yeah.
bar, remember with your ID connected to it, you're screwed.
Yes, of course.
You're screwed.
With your ID card attached to it.
Yeah.
But outside of a Wang Ba, then you're going to be
The
fine.
thing is, they also started to do things like, previously you could just get a SIM card for your phone without your ID
Yes,
attached to your
that's
passport.
true.
Then they changed that. So now
Yeah.
everything you access through your mobile internet is now connected to you as
I
well.
will. I just want to make it a very important distinction. I've never heard of someone getting busted with their ID for looking at porn on their phone in
Sure.
China forever. And
Yeah.
every single person looks at it.
Yeah,
Every man.
I mean, every man does find
Yes.
a way to look at it.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, it's just like every official is corrupt.
Correct.
They do it.
They do
when
do it,
there's
for
an
sure.
opportunity,
When there's
and when
an
they
opportunity.
decide that they're going to hit someone for something, that's an easy
Or to
target.
make an example.
Yeah, it's
Right.
an easy target.
So yeah, back to fast forward to this. So they have this. This is fascinating, actually. You know the Wumao, the paid internet trolls.
Yeah.
So you have paid internet trolls that go out there to shift narrative, to not talk bad about the Chinese government, to make
Yep.
sure that people are staying on topic and not being like Xi Jinping's bad, CCP is bad, blah blah.
Yeah.
And then also to go out there and attack people that say, "Oh, I don't like this Chinese government." They're like, "Oh, you're racist," that kind
Sure.
of stuff. These are
Sure.
paid internet trolls. Actually,
Yeah.
a lot of them are in the PLA.
Yep.
A lot of the People's Liberation Army, and a lot of them are actually prisoners,
Sure.
which we covered in depth,
Yeah.
that are not really getting paid to do it. It's just they're spamming copy paste things, kind of like those gold farmers in World of Warcraft. They
Yeah,
used to take
exactly.
Prisoners
Yeah.
to do that. So there's another sect of the government
Mm-hmm.
that I shouldn't say sect, another part of the government department.
Go with the sect if you want.
Yeah, a department of the government, and their job is to remove porn off the internet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And of course, this is hard to stamp out. It's just
Yeah.
everywhere, right? So they go and they remove the website, they shut down the DNS, they do all that kind of stuff, and then it'll pop up somewhere else.
Yeah.
So they thought, what if we have to pay humans to do this?
Yeah.
Then how the hell are we going to get on top of this? Like the
Yeah.
people are they're actually a quote in the study is that the officials are tired.
Yeah.
They're tired of sitting there looking at porn.
Yeah.
Right? Because they have to go through all day and they just never stop it.
They're just
right?
putting out fires. They find porn
Yes.
pops up here, then they censor it.
It's an
then they find
impossible
it there.
battle.
Remember, they tried to roll out, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, and this is also probably early days, probably 2007-ish, 2009 at the latest, but they tried to roll out some or other software that would run on every single computer in
Yeah,
China.
I remember that. Yeah.
And
yeah, yeah.
it was supposed to just censor porn completely,
Yeah.
get rid of it, but
Yeah.
it was so bad that it was doing things like if people try to look at Garfield because
Yeah.
of the skin,
Yeah.
the color of
you brought
Garfield.
that in. I remember
yeah,
that.
remember that? Because the
Yeah.
color of his fur or whatever, it'd
Yes.
censor Garfield, it'd censor cartoons, it'd censor everything because it
Everything.
was just looking for skin
Skin
tone.
tones.
Yeah.
So this is actually related to that.
Right.
So the system that they set up was, what if we use machine learning
Yeah.
and we get people's brainwaves to tell us what is porn and what is not, right?
Yeah.
So what they did was they hooked up this kind of this mind control hat. And again, that's kind of it's not our clickbait, that's what they were calling it.
Yeah.
This mind control hat, what it does is it monitors brainwaves.
Yeah,
right?
this is old technology.
Old tech, right?
Yeah.
So what they would do is they would take a user, and some of these were the people that worked in this government department, but then the study was using volunteers. Right?
Sure.
And this is in Beijing
So
Jiaotong
what we
University.
have over here is an example, the actual example from this
Correct.
study.
Yes. So they wear this, and they would show them images.
Yes.
For example, this is from the study. You look on the right, there's a picture of people crossing the road in the U.S.
Yeah.
On the left, you have, I don't know, some Korean porn thing.
Yeah.
So what they would do is they would monitor the brain waves. Instead of having a computer saying, that's a skin tone of porn, that's a nipple color,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's a whatever. The person would raise their eyebrow, right, slightly, or their brain waves would tell
Yeah, it'd be a brainwave
the
thing, yeah.
computer, right, whether or not it's porn.
Yeah.
And therefore, the computer's not making the decision anymore, a human being did.
Yeah.
What that does is that goes into code, and they can actually code algorithms based on human interaction instead of skin tones or bitmaps.
Right.
So what the problem was, there's a huge hiccup, was that this study was trying to help the Chinese government, right? trying to help this censorship board. It's a government censorship board.
Yeah.
And obviously get funding for their research.
Yeah.
But in the process, to get approved for the research, the Chinese government said that all of the pornographic images had to be censored in the study.
So what you're seeing here is actual picture from the study. So the porn that they were watching or the pornography that they were seeing
It was redacted.
is censored.
Yeah.
So how's it going to be accurate then?
I know.
How are you going to know?
So
It's typical Chabador.
Chabador, right?
Yeah.
So the researchers in
Yeah.
Beijing Jiaotong University, I was reading, they were very angry. They're like,
Yeah.
they were just frustrated as hell. They're like, how is this study going to be accurate?
Yeah.
If we have to show censored, redacted porn,
Yeah.
how is a human brain going to, like, eventually they're just going to get used to this,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be titillating anymore,
Yeah,
or
sure.
something else is going to happen,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because they could not get past the government censorship board, even for a government-sponsored study in the university, right?
Yeah.
So it's some weird shit going on here.
Yeah.
But they had to remove the identity and the nudity, right?
Yeah.
So you couldn't even like look at a face or something properly,
Sure.
right? So they had these people. They had both men and women volunteer for this, but the results were only focusing on men's what's it called, reactions. Mm-hmm. So there were some women in China like, oh, what about us?
Sure.
Anyway, so what they would do is again they would you go to the next slide.
There's no next slide. It's just
Okay,
just
sorry.
these
Just
two.
go. Yeah, I meant to play the
Previous.
I meant to play the Wang Ba footage.
Okay, all right, yeah.
So the study's kind of just not going to go anywhere,
Yeah.
I don't think. But what it did show me, and the conclusion of this for me, was that China is definitely taking a hardline approach to pornography. Yet again, instead of facing human trafficking, illegal prostitution that deals with human trafficking, corruption, pollution, crime.
Look, it's a
traffic.
huge issue in China.
Right.
And yeah, of course, they always try to have this outward image
Yes.
for the rest of the world that China's pure and...
Do you know what the logic is? And this is logic. This is the easiest way I can explain this before we move on. Is the government thinks that, hey, if we're focused on an issue like this domestically, and then the outside world sees that we're focused on such a petty issue like this, then it's such utopia that we can focus on something like this.
And people
right?
will think
There's no
the
drugs,
Chinese
there's no
society
porn.
is
Yeah.
so pure
Yeah.
that even pornography is not allowed. What they don't realize is that I've never seen openly so much prostitution
Yes.
and human trafficking and all the other terrible
Yes.
things that go along with it. In my entire life, you get hounded when you go to a hotel in many places in China.
Yeah.
We've done videos about this, all the prostitute cards,
Yeah.
all the stickers advertising, whatever. I've done plenty of videos about this. We've done videos about this. You've done videos about it. It's a real big issue. But as far as the rest of the world is concerned, oh, they don't even allow pornography? Wow, they're so clean and pure.
It's this weird like mental deflection.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah, go on.
what you can see in the background here, by the way, is a footage I took a long time ago. Good number of years ago. But this is kind of what you'd expect the entrance to an internet cafe to look like.
Yeah,
If you can
well said.
read the entrance up there, it says Wang Ba. Okay. Thought we'd
Wang
give
Ba Dan.
Yeah, no, and Wang just means net, like a zhuzhu wang, like a spider web. So
Yeah.
it's basically a web, just like the web.
Yeah.
And bar just means a bar.
Yeah.
basically, you can
It's
have a
organization of a word.
A Joe bar is a alcohol bar. In fact, there's a really clever name that some bar had in Shenzhen. It was 98.
Oh, Joba.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. I
Pretty
like
clever.
that,
So it's Club 98,
Yeah.
which just means Joe bar. Yeah, it was kind of cool. Anyway, so that's where you'd go in. This, by the way, is a more upmarket one, I'd say.
Oh yeah. That's
Okay,
way
this is
better.
not what was in that particular one. They're normally real dingy and kind of gross most of the time. But this is what goes on. People sitting there playing games mostly and...
watching movies.
Yeah.
They have all these pirated movies, data bank that you can go watch.
Yeah. For those of you wondering how this all operates, every time you turn the computer on, it wipes the hard drive and it reinstalls the OS. It uses like a kind of a Norton Ghost image for those of you who know what that's all about. But basically,
Like Ghost.
yeah, so it doesn't actually do an installation. It just takes an image and it puts the new image on the hard drive. So it starts fresh.
They do that so people can log into their QQ and stuff and not stay logged in.
Yeah,
basically,
exactly.
yeah.
So when you turn the computer off, next time it's turned on, everything gets wiped.
That's right.
But of course, when you log in with your username and stuff, there's a webcam and everything. It ties it to your ID, and whatever you do then is going to be online.
That's right.
And it's going to be tracked.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful what you do there.
Yes.
Now, there's a reason why these exist in China. And you have to remember that in China, it's very different to the West, okay?
Yeah.
People don't generally have a computer in their house. Okay, of course, rich people have laptops and so on and so forth. It's not like people don't have computers, but the way the family structures work and the way that housing works in China is people usually live in a very small apartment, and they live with their parents. They live with their parents-in-law if they're married. So you've got grandparents in the house, you've got maybe kids in the house, maybe you've got, your parents and your grandparents and you. There's a lot of people in the house. You don't get privacy. No. Okay, so these internet cafes are a way specifically for young people to just get out of the house, to get away from the family. They're constantly bothering them, looking over their shoulder, trying to force feed them rice and chicken or whatever all the time. All the time, like,吃多一点吧, 吃多一点. You have no idea how. Yeah, it's so annoying. So, they get, like you can see here, I filmed these dudes eating their instant noodles. A lot of the Wang bars are kind of cool. You can buy the instant noodles at the front desk.
And they'll heat them up for you.
Yeah, you can buy beer, you can do whatever.
It's actually a really, really, really bad, horrible, dirty copy of the Wang bars in Korea. Which are really upmarket and nice and have restaurants inside and food gets delivered to you. Yeah. The ones in China typically are
They're filthy. They're filthy, but it's cool because you get away from your family. Yeah. You get to sit there, you can eat your meals, you can go to the toilet. They've got toilets in there that are disgusting.
Oh my, Wangba toilets. Dude, truck stop toilets that we talked about, like on the road in China? Wangba toilets are only slightly better.
Yeah, because they're kind of indoors and they flush.
They're not just a hole.
I cannot forget the first time when I was living in that red light district, I used to go to this internet cafe. It was the only way I could get internet, right, back then. Yeah. And I went to the toilet there, and it's all squat toilets, and somebody had taken a dump and obviously dipped their finger in feces and written a sentence in shit.
Why does that
on
not
the
surprise
wall.
me at a Wangba?
If
it was going to happen, it would be at a Wangba.
Yeah, it was on the wall or it was on the door or something. So that when you use the toilet, you can see a message somebody had wrote.
But it was in the Wangba.
Yeah, in their own feces. Yeah,
they wrote
it was disgusting.
What did it say?
I couldn't read Chinese at that point.
Early, yeah.
It was written in Chinese, so it was just kind of gross. Anyway, that's Wangbas. But now you get the idea of why they're so popular is because it's the only escape to get away from family. But the problem is, Wangbas have become like a real problem for addiction.
Yes, internet addiction.
Yeah, people get addicted to, and I guess the government's now trying to implement quotas on how many hours you can use?
I'm just laughing because of the archaic approach they took before the quotas, like shock therapy.
Yeah, they used to do shock therapy and stuff. It's ridiculous.
It's like some girls died.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It was really messed up.
No, it was messed up. The fact of the matter is, the teenagers and stuff will disappear for weeks in a Wangba.
And they'll shit in buckets.
Yeah.
Like, because they don't want to stop. Like, it turns into massive addiction. Obviously, it's not like it's a widespread problem. It's not everyone, but there's certain people that get addicted like drugs.
Yeah, it is.
Now, by the way, huge drug trade inside of a lot of these Wangbas.
Sure.
The dodgy ones. Big illicit drug trade and prostitute trade in there.
Yeah, it's basically a weird...
The den of sin.
It's a weird little place to go hang out, basically. And to varying degrees, of course. You get the disgusting, dodgy ones. And like this one that you're looking at now is pretty normal. Yeah. It's this one where I filmed, it had glass doors opening to the street, so you can't get up to anything dodgy.
So you're not buying ketamine and stuff?
No, of course not.
The ones I used to see, people were buying ketamine.
Yeah, obviously. Like it is a weird place, but... Anyway, we thought we'd introduce you to this whole Wangba culture because it is very much related to this whole mind reading.
It's one of those things that one of those things that got way less popular, but they're still there.
Oh, they're everywhere.
Yeah, they're definitely less popular when we first moved.
Yeah. I mean,
that was ubiquitous.
Yeah, but it depends on the area you're in.
It does. Like when I moved up north, everyone went to the Wangbas.
Yeah.
Everyone went to the public showers as well because they didn't have showers in their home.
Yeah.
Right? So you go to the public shower, you'd go to the Wangba, you don't have a computer at home.
Yeah, that's that. We didn't have that in the South, the public shower thing.
Yeah, in the South, I would see less normal people going to the Wangba, if that makes sense. Up north, it was normal people would go to the Wangba. Girls would go to the Wangba.
Sure.
In the South, I would see more of the certain type of people that would go to the Wangba. Sure. Either kind of scummy criminal
Shamata go to the Wangba.
Shamata.
They love the Wangba, yeah.
The Wangba is their scene, and also those like factory clubs.
Yeah.
They love that. The Anchor
the techno
beer.
Oh,
like 30 Anchor fake beers that are going to poison them.
Yes.
But they're chugging those down.
Of course.
Shamata were the only people that were really nice to me in the clubs and bars when I first moved to China, so my heart goes out to them.
No, I like
They
it.
welcome me.
I like
I'm an outsider too.
Sure. Yeah, anyway, the thing is, it's normally when you move out of the big posh city centers.
Yeah.
So in Shenzhen, if you went into the urban villages, for instance, you would find Wang Ba there.
Yeah.
If you went further out, like into Longhua or, you know, one of the outlying Buji or one of those areas, Wang Bas are everywhere.
Everywhere.
And it is...
You're right. It depends on the area.
Depends on the area and the demographic in that area.
I would say the sprawl, like urban sprawl outside of a major city, Wang Bas are everywhere.
Yeah. Cool. So...